if you tune into your neck and shoulders right now, you might think, well, my neck and shoulders are pretty relaxed or they're kind of tight. And then we have the spin off thoughts from that. Well, I wish my neck and shoulders were more relaxed, or I've done all this work for all these years and they still get tight. And then we kind of spin off into to thoughts about it. So there's kind of those three layers or levels. There's the direct experience of what does it feel like right now when you tune into your shoulders and your neck. What's happening in that space? What does it feel like? What are the sensations? And one of the systems of our nervous system, our brain, is proprioception. So we know when I say tune into your neck and shoulders, we know where that is. And it's actually a location in space. It's just under the head, just in the back of our body. And if you were to get really specific about just the muscles and just the area around your shoulder blades, and then notice if you go a little bit forward into your body, is it the same sensation? Is it a little bit different? So if we go from that area between the shoulder blades and along the shoulder blades themselves, and then just along the upper back, kind of in that first half inch or an inch before we get to the bones of the rib cage. Tune into that again, just that outer experience. What are the sensations on the outside of the bones? And then notice if there is a difference there from the actual rib cage, or if you come into the interior, what's happening in that space. You might notice the heart center. There might be some energy there that's different from the back of your body. Notice how the mind organizes that information. We just know. And if your mind is describing it to you, which it often does, well, that's a familiar sensation. That energy in the heart center is moving a bit, or it's whatever it is. Let the thoughts about it go right to the back of your mind. So you're not really paying attention to that at all. Go back to noticing. One way we might do that is to notice the space itself and the sensations in that space. If you let your attention go a little bit above the heart center, up into the collarbones and into the neck, the throat, what are the sensations? What is your felt sense of what's going on above the heart center? Notice the muscles of the neck as well, the sides of the neck, the top of the shoulders, back of your neck. If you moved your shoulders for a moment, notice that sensation. And then if you let your body come back to stillness, notice that. And notice if there's anything that's sharply defined in terms of location. Sometimes there's a very specific location for something, and then it just kind of stops abruptly. It's like a box or a circle or something where there's the sensation, there's nothing on the outside of it. And more often, we have a feeling in the back or the neck or something, or maybe it's in the throat center. And we feel it quite strongly in the center, and then it gets a little bit softer and softer. And just for a moment, pick the strongest sensation in your back or neck or throat or chest, heart center, and really notice what it feels like, where it's at its most noticeable, its most intensity. And then, just like you were looking at an object in space and then widening your perspective to see all around it, do the same with that felt sense. Where is it in your body that you notice you can't feel it anymore? And bring your attention back to this space, the space itself. We're monitoring the space that our body is occupying, and in particular, from the diaphragm up right at the moment. We were looking at the shoulders, the shoulder blades, heart center, the throat, the sides and back of the neck. And what is happening in the space above the mouth, from the mouth up to the top of the head, from your forehead to the back of your head, to the sides, to your ears, between your ears, from your eyes into the brain. What's going on in that space? And just like we could allow our body to be still, see if you could allow stillness to be in this part too. There's movement here. The diaphragm, way down below the rib cage, is driving the movement of the breath. So, what we're feeling in the head is a result of movement lower down in the body. We can feel as the air comes into the nose, through the back of the mouth, and as the air comes back out, we have a sense perception of that. Something is moving through the space of our body, but our body itself isn't moving. Notice if there's any sensation through your forehead, your eyebrows, your eyes. And notice there's usually a difference in sensation when we really bring our attention in. Even if we were quite relaxed, there's often a softening. And notice what's going on in your mouth, your jaw. Is there stillness there? Down into your vocal cords, too. Notice what happens if you swallow. There's a certain sensation and movement that happens in that space, and then it stops. Notice how long you can feel the reverberation of that movement. Or if you move your tongue, and then expand your felt sense to include a larger area again. Notice your neck, your shoulders, down through your heart center, back of your chest. You could include the front of your chest. There's been a whole range of sensations coming and going in that area that we haven't noticed. One of the things our brain does so well is it ignores anything that's not alarming. So if it's a common, familiar experience that you're having in your anywhere in your body, then the brain doesn't really notice that unless we specifically tune in. So again, notice what's happening in that larger space from the diaphragm at the lower rib cage all the way up through the whole of the upper chest, the neck, the shoulders, your throat, your mouth, base, the whole of your head. And you could broaden that. It's like broadening your vision, only we're not using our eyes. Notice the whole of the space again, your arms and legs, your stomach, your hips, your lower pelvis, your spine, head to toes, what's happening in that space that you're observing now in the whole of the space. And we can direct our attention. You could put your attention on the fingertips, on your right knee joint, your left little toe, and your navel center as you observe the movement of your body again. Of the sensation of air flowing in and out of your nose. And trying to let that commentary die down if it could, or at least move way to the back so that's not really what you're paying attention to. It's the space itself and what you're noticing. What are the perceptions of what's happening in the space? And notice how we lose track over and over again, even if our attention is quite stable. If we have that broad perspective, we might be noticing our whole body. And then usually our attention will get caught by something more specific. And often it's caught by thoughts about something. But even if we're still staying in that purely sensory perceptive mode, we might notice the movement of something, or our attention will go back to our shoulders that have tightened up. And notice if you actually need to comment on what's happening. It's a strongly held habit for many people. So just before we finish, let's tune in again to the forehead. Notice the space and what it is that's happening in that space. And rest as long as you can without any thought at all. And then when a thought comes up, notice it as soon as you can. And then let the thought come to a close and rest without thought again. And then open your eyes and notice what changes when you open your eyes.